Imagine if you could have bought Amazon before e-commerce, Google before search, Nvidia before AI transformed the technology industry. These companies went on to be the behemoths of today. While you can't go back in time, but a similar opportunity has resurfaced and which investors around the world are obsessed with right now. These are three private companies today: SpaceX, OpenAI, and Anthropic. The question is no longer whether these companies will shape the future. The real question is how beneficial will it turn out when public investors will get access to buy shares of these companies. Chapter 1: Why markets are obsessed with these IPOs. Before we dive into each of the company, it is important to understand why Wall Street is paying so much attention to these IPOs. Every year, hundreds of companies go public. Most are simply competing for market share in existing industries. SpaceX, OpenAI, and Anthropic are different because they are creating entirely new markets. OpenAI is turning artificial intelligence into a consumer and enterprise product used by millions. Anthropic is building trusted AI systems for some of the world's largest organizations. Together, they sit at the intersection of three megatrends: AI, automation, and space infrastructure. That is why investors are willing to assign valuations normally reserved for the world's largest public companies. They're not just looking at current revenue, they're trying to estimate the value of industries that could be 10 times larger a decade from now. In short, the excitement surrounding these IPOs is not about what these companies are today, it is about what they could become tomorrow. Chapter 2: SpaceX, more than a rocket company. Let's start with a company that has perhaps generated more excitement than any IPO in the modern market history: SpaceX. While most people still think of it as a rocket company, the numbers suggest it has evolved into something far larger. Founded in 2002 by Elon Musk, SpaceX spent its early years solving one problem: reducing the cost of reaching space. Today, that strategy has helped it become the dominant launch provider in the world. In 2025 alone, the company completed 170 launches, up from 138 the previous year, and generated approximately $18.7 billion in revenue across its launch, connectivity, and AI businesses. The biggest growth engine is Starlink. The satellite internet businesses generated more than $11 billion in revenue during 2025 and serves over 10 million subscribers globally through a network of roughly 9,600 satellites. This recurring revenue stream has transformed SpaceX from a capital-intensive aerospace company into a business capable of funding entirely new growth initiatives. Investors' enthusiasm became evident during the company's public market debut. SpaceX raised a record $75 billion at an IPO valuation of $1.77 trillion, the largest IPO ever completed. Demand reportedly exceeded available shares by roughly 4 times, and the stock finished its first trading day nearly 19% above its IPO price, briefly pushing the company's market value above $2 trillion. Following the underwriter's additional share sale option, total proceeds reached approximately $85.7 billion. The investment story became even bigger in 2026 when SpaceX expanded aggressively into artificial intelligence through xAI. The company now operates the Colossus and Colossus 2 supercomputing clusters, amongst the largest AI infrastructure facilities ever assembled. Their importance became evident when Anthropic signed a compute agreement worth up to $1.25 billion per month for access to Colossus capacity, a contract that could exceed $40 billion over its full duration. SpaceX has also disclosed additional large-scale compute partnerships, effectively turning the company into an AI infrastructure provider alongside its space and connectivity businesses. At the application layer, xAI owns Grok and the X platform. The company has stated that X and Grok together reach roughly 600 million monthly active users, giving it one of the largest distribution networks in AI. Combined with access to massive compute capacity and proprietary user data, Grok has emerged as one of the leading frontier AI models, competing alongside products from OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. That is why investors are no longer valuing SpaceX as a rocket company. They are valuing a business that now participates in space transportation, global connectivity, defense systems, and AI infrastructure simultaneously. Few companies in history have had exposure to do many trillion-dollar markets at the same time. Chapter 3: OpenAI, building the operating system for intelligence. If SpaceX is building the infrastructure of space, OpenAI is attempting to build the operating system for intelligence. In less than 4 years, the company has gone from a research lab known only within Silicon Valley to one of the fastest growing businesses in technology history. The scale is staggering. OpenAI recently reported more than 900 million weekly active users and over 50 million paying subscribers across its products. Revenue has accelerated at a pace rarely seen in software, reaching approximately $2 billion per month, implying an annualized run rate exceeding $24 billion. More importantly, over 40% of revenue comes from enterprise customers, a figure expected to approach parity with consumer revenue by the end of 2026. The company's infrastructure ambitions are even more significant. Through the Stargate initiative, OpenAI and its partners have announced plans to invest up to $500 billion into AI infrastructure over the coming years, combined with agreements involving Oracle, Microsoft, Nvidia, SoftBank, and other strategic partners. OpenAI is securing access to some of the largest computing resources ever assembled for AI. Investor excitement intensified further in June 2026 when OpenAI confidently filed for an IPO. Reuters subsequently reported that a public listing could occur as early as late 2026, while CEO Sam Altman stated that the company expects to become publicly traded within the next year. This explains why investors are discussing valuations approaching $1 trillion. The market is no longer valuing ChatGPT as a successful application. It is valuing OpenAI as a company that could become the default intelligence layer powering consumer enterprises, developers, and governments around the world. If successful, OpenAI may become one of the most important technology platforms of the next decade. Chapter 4. Anthropic, the Quiet Giant. While OpenAI dominates headlines, Anthropic may be the company investors are watching most closely. Founded by former OpenAI researchers, Anthropic has taken a very different approach to AI. Rather than chasing consumer adoption first, the company focused on enterprise customers, coding applications, and mission-critical AI systems for large organizations. The strategy is producing extraordinary results. In the early 2026, Anthropic reported a revenue run rate of approximately $14 billion. By April, that figure had surpassed $30 billion. Just 1 month later, annualized revenue crossed $47 billion, making it one of the fastest growing software businesses in history. The company also doubled the number of customers spending more than $1 million annually, growing from over 500 to more than 1,000 enterprise accounts within a few months. Investors have rewarded that growth aggressively. In February 2026, Anthropic was valued at roughly $380 billion. By May, a $65 billion funding round pushed its valuation to $965 billion, surpassing OpenAI and making it the most valuable private AI company in the world. Major investors now include Amazon, Google, Sequoia Capital, Temasek, Cotio, and several of the world's largest institutional funds. The company's growth runway remains significant. Anthropic has secured more than $100 billion of long-term computing commitments from Amazon and additional capacity agreements with Google, Broadcom, and SpaceX. It is also expanding rapidly across government, defense, and regulated industries where reliability and security matter as much as model performance. That momentum explains why Anthropic confidentially filed for an IPO on June 1, 2026. Multiple reports suggest a public listing could occur as early as fall 2026, potentially at a valuation exceeding $1 trillion. Investors are not simply betting on Claude, they are betting on Anthropic becoming the trusted AI platform powering the world's largest enterprises. Despite operating in different industries, all three share the same advantage. They're creating markets rather than competing within existing ones. That is why investors are willing to assign valuations measured in hundreds of billions of dollars. The question is no longer whether these companies will influence the future. The real question is, how much of that future they will ultimately control. If you like this breakdown, do subscribe to Appreciate for more such videos. Thank you so much.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.